According to reports, the former collaborator in charge of the finances of a similar cartel testified against Joaquin El Chapo Guzman the day after the trial. This testimony turned against the former leader of one of the Zambada, who served as the world's chief accountant for his crimes, was the most notorious drug trafficker. Brothers Mel El Mayo Zambada. Guzman revealed that they were known as the leaders of the Sinaloa cartel. Some suggest that Ismael Zambada now leads the group and is suspects he betrayed Guzman. What motivated this accountant to reveal all his secrets? How did he manage to accumulate billions of dollars? Let's dig deeper into this matter. Welcome back to your favorite channel. I hope that everyone is well. In today's video, we'll explore how the infamous El Chapo, he amassed a colossal fortune, and all of this information comes from his accountant. Can imagine how enlightening it will be, given that this data comes from someone so close to you, to El Chapo. So why wait any longer? Start. Does El Chapo need an introduction? I don't think so, but let's get to know more details about him. He was born in the small town of La Tuna, in Badiraguaro, Sinaloa, Mexico. His date of birth is a matter of debate, as some sources suggest he was born on December 25, 1954, while others claim it was April 4, 1957. They're his parents, Emilio Guzman Bustillos and Maria Consuelo Loera Perez, were of humble origins. His father made his living as a gomero, cultivating opium in a region where opium was the world, the only product that was planted. Joaquim had two younger sisters, Armida and Bernarda, and four younger brothers, Michelangelo, Aureliano, Arturo, and Emilio. He had also had three older brothers whose identities remain unknown, as they apparently died at an early age due to natural causes. Guzman's childhood was spent in a rural and remote environment. The nearest school to their home was about 60 kilometers away, and Joaquin attended it along with his friends. Brothers, though they eventually abandoned education to help at work familiar. At the age of 15, Joaquin Guzman began to engage in illicit activities by growing marijuana, a commodity that was beginning to be lucrative at the time, and he found a market to sell it in Culiacan thanks to the intermediation of his uncle Pedro Aviles Perez. It was during the 1980s that Guzman made connections in the world of drug trafficking. He worked closely with Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, nicknamed the Godfather, who was the main cocaine trafficker in Mexico at the time. However, in 1989, Gallardo was arrested and prosecuted, triggering the split of the Cartel of São Paulo, Guadalajara. The Arellano Felix brothers also worked for Gallardo, but the conflicts between the two groups led to the creation of the Sinaloa cartel by the Joaquin Guzman, consolidating himself as a prominent leader in the world of drug trafficking in Mexico. It was responsible for the distribution of drugs abroad and exported them to the United States and Europe. This leadership enriched him enormously and ensured him a great prosperity, to the point of being considered one of the most influential people between 2009 and 2013, according to Forbes. As the years progressed, the rivalry between the cartels intensified. One of the most violent moment was on May 24, 1993, when a confrontation broke out at the Guadalajara International Airport between the Sinaloa and Sinaloa cartels, Tijuana. This confrontation resulted in 7 casualties, including the Cardinal Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's life was characterized by his rise in the world of drug trafficking and its role in one of the bloodiest rivalries of organized crime in the United States. Mexico. How much money does El Chapo have? The fortune of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is a topic that has generated a lot of interest and attention, speculation over the years. His wealth amounts to an impressive $12,520 million, consolidating himself as the 4th richest individual in Mexico. He is followed in the ranking by the influential businessman Alberto Balleres, whose fortune has been estimated at $10.48 billion, and tequila tycoon Juan Francisco Beckman Vidal, whose estimated wealth reaches $7.18 billion, ranks 5th position on the list of the richest in the country. It is interesting to note that in years past, even the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, he was listed on the prestigious Forbes lists as one of the most important individuals in the world, wealthy in the world. In 2009, the head of the Sinaloa cartel ranked 703 in the world ranking of millionaires prepared by the renowned Forbes magazine, in addition to ranking 7th nationally, with a fortune estimated at $1 billion. According to Forbes, Guzman Loera played a role instrumental in the process of laundering huge sums of money for other cartels, Mexicans and Colombians, with estimates ranging from $18 billion to $39 billion. In 2010, Joaquin Guzman Loera made an appearance again on the list of the richest people in Mexico and the world, according to Forbes, maintaining their fortune estimated at $1 billion. On this occasion, it was ranked 906th in the and ranked 9th in Mexico. By 2011, he was again mentioned with the same billion-dollar fortune, 1,140th in the world ranking, and being the 11th most important man. Nationally, their constant presence on these lists is a testament to the immense wealth that he managed to accumulate over the years, despite the circumstances and the controversies surrounding it. However, despite these figures, there are no documents that confirm that El Chapo Guzman owns assets or bank accounts that correspond to the fortune mentioned, nor are there records showing that Guzman's name, any family members or frontmen own significant businesses or properties. Up to date, only a few personal possessions have been verified, such as 3 watches, 3 cell phones, a computer, and 5 firearms, but there is no solid evidence that back up claims about your earnings. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has expressed interest in seeking the confiscation of the assets of El Chapo Guzman and expressed his hope that any confiscated resource related to Mexico was returned to the Mexican people. Also suggested that these resources could be used to strengthen the Institute for Giving Back to the Environment, Pueblo Lo Robado, an institution in charge of the sale of goods confiscated by the government. It is said that the influence of this individual resembled that of Pablo Escobar. Guzman was first arrested by the police in 1993 when he was in Guatemala and sentenced to 20 years in prison for various illegal activities. However, he wasn't someone who would let himself be overcome by adversity. Somehow, he managed to bribe the guards and escape from a high-security prison in 2001. In their search, the government, he offered a reward of $8.8 million to anyone who assists in his capture. Finally, after 13 years of going underground, it was again arrested in 2014. In the years that followed, he managed to escape once again, but finally, in 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison. President López Obrador emphasized his agreement with the government's lawyer, Mexican drug trafficker José Luis González Meza, who put forward the idea that the assets confiscated from Joaquín El Chapo Guzman should be returned to Mexico. The proposal came in the midst of a complex legal and political debate in which the authorities' Mexican and U.S. women clashed over who was entitled to the property accumulated by the leader of the Sinaloa cartel over the years. I listened to El Chapo's lawyer, and he made an interesting point that in any case, legally confiscated resources and assets belong to Mexico. Let's review this affair. I agree with what Guzman Loera's lawyer said, though we will look into it, the federal president said, in an effort to address this issue complex. González Meza, for his part, stressed that Guzman's wealth was generated on soil, arguing that everything from planting, growing, and harvesting poppy and marijuana, even the distribution and profits derived from these activities, were taken to in Mexico. In his view, the assets seized from Guzman Loera should not be owned by the U.S. government, but legally belong to the U.S. government, Mexico. This perspective raised a complex discussion about jurisprudence and international cooperation in cases of drug trafficking and organized crime. Before we go any further, we'd like to mention that if you find this video interesting, please click the like button as it motivates us to work even harder on our videos. Now, let's examine how he accumulated so much wealth and prosperity through his activities illegal. The accountant who worked for him for 15 years was named Jesus Zambara Garcia. In court in Brooklyn, the accountant revealed that prior to his capture in 2008, it was his brothers who ran the Mexican cartel. In addition, he confessed that he held the rank of lieutenant in the cartel and called himself the leader of the Mexican city. At a hearing, Guzman, who has been in solitary confinement since his death in prison, deportation to the United States, pleaded not guilty. The indictment against him claimed that he was the mastermind behind a multi-million-dollar routine in New York and New York, Jersey. The attorneys who represented this individual in his defense argued that their client, innocent in his opinion, he was the victim of a conspiracy related to carried out by another notorious drug trafficker who managed to escape from prison by bribing authorities. According to his claims, this other individual was known as the traitor and provided significant details in his statements. It was learned that Joaquin El Chapo Guzman acquired a warehouse in Mexico City, which it was used as a collection center for illegal substances imported from Colombia. In addition, he controlled an airport and bribed officials to ensure their protection. According to his testimony, the packages of drugs arrived in Mexico from abroad through various means, including small aircraft, large aircraft, jets, and trade routes. According to reports in the Guardian newspaper, the cartel also used to use sea routes, using fishing and merchant vessels for the transport of these substances. It should be noted that the transport of these substances was not carried out in vehicles conventional trucks, but specially equipped trucks were used to contain shipments of gas and designed to transport these illicit substances. The purpose of these operations was to control both the market and the prices of the products that the cartel handled, as well as managing the expenses necessary to carry out the products to customers. Zambada was called to testify as a third witness in the trial and began his testimony by confessing his close relationship with Guzman. He revealed that he himself was complicit in Guzman's escape from prison in 2001, adding that it was him who provided a helicopter and assisted in his escape. Before we dive into the events that follow, a reminder: you can subscribe and like the video for free to help us with our algorithm. No, forget to click on the bell icon. Now let's get back to the story. When asked how he gained such in-depth knowledge about how it works, an internal member of the cartel, Zambada revealed his membership in the cartel. He clarified that the cartel was composed of 4 leaders in total, Guzman and his brother being 2 of them, and there were 4 men, including him, who acted as sub-leaders. These sub-leaders, they played a crucial role in the organization and had under their direction an extensive group of collaborators, from Mexico to the United States, ensuring cooperation both superiors and workers. These workers included hitmen, in charge of eliminating unwanted persons, drivers assigned to the transport of and pilots in charge of the water transport system. Engineers played a critical role in ensuring the safety of the communications, which was essential to the functioning of the cartel, established encrypted systems and secure networks to protect the cartel's critical information. Likewise, we cannot overlook the crucial role of the security guards, who had the responsibility to protect the cartel's substances and operations. Their job was ensure that no one interfered with the activities of the criminal group and that the substances to be kept safe from potential threats. Initially, everyone noticed that Guzman seemed clearly irritated when confronted by his old acquaintance and friend. However, as time went on and I heard the evidence presented, gradually began to relax. This change in his attitude was when he folded his arms, leaned back in his chair, and crossed his legs, indicating a calmer and more reflective attitude. As for Zambada, his role was not limited to being the cartel's accountant. In addition, he was responsible for overseeing the plaza in Mexico City from 1990 until his arrest. The plaza refers to 3 warehouses that were central to the operations of the poster. Various activities related to the distribution and safekeeping of substances and other resources of the cartel. Zambada shared revealing details about how cartel leaders amassed money to invest in large quantities of substance from Colombia. Initially, they took 50% of sales, but over time, they began to pressure Colombians to get an even bigger share of the profits, which allowed the cartel's position in the market to be strengthened. Despite some capital losses at certain times, the cartel managed to maintain its influence and power. The prosecutor, however, did not always fully understand the details presented by the accountant. The main objective of the cartel was to control the market and the prices of the products they handled, as well as manage expenses related to the delivery of the products to the customers. The question of how the cartel managed to launder billions in cash once on their way back to Mexico posed an intriguing conundrum. pricing of substances were also a crucial aspect. Drugs were valued according to distance. The farther north they went, the higher their selling price would be, leading to greater earnings. However, this also meant higher transport costs. For example, a kilogram of substance cost about $20,000 in Los Angeles, reflecting the complexity of the cartel's operations and its ability to adapt to changing market circumstances. Transporting this 15,000 kilogram cargo would be expensive, hovering around $7,000. This figure represents a considerable challenge in terms of logistics costs. But now, let's consider the scenario of bringing this cargo to California City, where this challenge becomes monumental, as some $195 million would be required to finance the entire operation of the cartel. Within this vast sum, individual investors, they would get their share, approximately $39 million. If we look further afield, to a location even more distant from Mexico City, such as Chicago, the numbers never cease to amaze. In this case, the cost of the substance would be of nearly $25,000 per kilogram. However, investment in transport, it would reach $9,000 per kilogram. In total, this operation would allow investors make a profit of $48 million on each shipment. The magnitude of these numbers are simply staggering. The scenario changes radically when we head towards New York. In this city, prices are even higher, with a kilogram of this substance sold for 35 kilograms, $5,000. Can you believe what you're hearing? Investors in this industry would pocket $78 million every year in this city. It's a business incredibly lucrative, making it a topic of great interest and concern. In addition, it should be noted that despite accumulating billions, most of those funds were returning to Mexico City. These funds were used to finance other cartel shipments and operations. The operation and organization behind this trade are truly impressive and challenging from a logistical and financial perspective. Additionally, there is speculation about the cartel's leadership. It is believed that the brother del Contador, known as El Mayo, is now at the helm of the cartel after conspiring against El Chapo. This transition in leadership adds an additional element of intrigue to this story. In conclusion, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the former leader of the Sinaloa cartel, accumulated an immense fortune throughout his career in the drug trade. However, it is important to keep in mind that the exact figures of your wealth are difficult to determine due to the clandestine nature of their activities and the different estimates by authorities and experts. In his heyday, it is estimated that El Chapo may have had a fortune in the billions of dollars, which made him one of the richest drug traffickers in history. The criminal empire spanned multiple countries and became involved in the production and distribution of illegal drugs, as well as other illicit businesses. However, this wealth it was marked by the violence and corruption that accompanied its organization. El Chapo faced numerous arrests and escapes throughout his life, and was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment in the United States in 2019 on charges related to drug trafficking. Part of his fortune has been seized and used to compensate victims of organized crime. In short, the story of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and his fortune is a testament to the complexity and the destructiveness of the world of drug trafficking. Although he amassed wealth through illegal activities, his legacy is marked by violence and illegality, as well as the authorities' efforts to end his reign. With these details, we've come to the end of the video. Now we ask you, viewer, do you think the accountant revealed the truth? Or could there be a reality entirely different? If this statement turns out to be accurate, the question arises as to where it was intended all that money. Imagine being handed such a colossal sum. What would be your first action? We'd like to hear your thoughts on this matter, so we'd like to thank you. We invite you to share them in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed the video and found this information fascinating. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. In addition, it activates the notification bell to stay up to date with more news about El Chapo. We're sure you'd like to mind having access to more information schemer. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.